Over the weekend, obviously, there was the Shedeur brouhaha that happened after preseason game number 3, and everybody took a side. It was Shedeur has been sabotaged, or Kevin Stefanski is the greatest coach in history. Your boy, Colin Cowherd, made sure to shout out Kevin Stefanski. And then, on top of it, Adam Shine, who is a person and a media member. Yeah. And some of us have listened to him previously, saying he lauded Kevin Stefanski as a total stud of a coach, an offensive guru. And this, to me, is why the conversation on Kevin Stefanski drives me crazy, is 3 years ago, people just decided he was a really good coach, and everyone stopped asking the difficult questions, and the actual resume doesn't really line up with that kind of you get to pass, go, and collect your $200 every year.
It just felt really premature to try to do a Kevin Stefanski's an offensive savant and knows what he's doing based off of a preseason game. And also in that same preseason game, if you're going to give him credit for Dylan Gabriel, don't you then have to knock him for what happened with Shedeur in many respects?
No. That's only when it's a positive.
I've noticed that. I've seen that, right? Like, shouldn't that been the game where people, instead of saying, wow, Dylan Gabriel looks good, Stefanski's really got this whole thing figured out, you shouldn't have been like, wait, well, how did Shedeur go from looking what he did 2 weeks ago to now looking like he did yesterday? What happened there, and why didn't Stefanski do right by him?
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked about this before, and I think we both agree on this theory. I think there's a huge swath of national media members, and maybe even some locally, that just really like Kevin personally.
Yeah.
And it makes it harder. Like, I think,
because he's an adult.
Well, and here's the thing.
And that is something.
I think it's harder to be critical of somebody that you like than the opposite, where, hey, I want to be fair to somebody who personally I don't like. I think it's easy to be like, okay, I don't like that guy. He treats people poorly, this, that, and the other. But this is about football. It's a lot easier to separate the art from the artist in that case if somebody's a bad dude than if they're a good dude, because you're like, well, I want them to succeed.
I know,
I don't want him to be replaced.
Why is it we started judging coaches not off of what they do on the field and what their record is, but we started judging off of them whether or not we want to have a beer with them or whether we like them?
I mean, in fairness, I think we've done this for a long time.
It seems like it's out of hand right now.
But coaches you want to have a beer with forever. Like that was why Ditka was so popular. Then the whole Super Bowl thing, but well, you know,
a little thing called the Super Bowl.
And but no, I mean, I do think there's the idea of, I think that's always been a part of it. But I do think you're right to say it's more inflated now. And what's weird to me, the reason why it's germane to this, I'm not giving Kevin Stefanski a pass for this season, big picture. But I understand that Vegas thinks you're a 5.5-win team, so I don't know I can specifically hammer you if you're a 5-win team, because that's what Vegas said you are. But the devil is in the details, and people just giving him a pass at quarterback because of things they think he did with Jacoby Brissett drives me crazy. Like, the offense was elite with Jacoby Brissett for 7 or 8 weeks, and then the next 5 weeks happened. It was not elite. They lost a lot of games in that time. So you don't get credit for being like, hey, that year that you were kind of okay for half a season. Like, he's had one top 10 scoring offense in 5 years. Mm-hmm. He's had 2 winning seasons and 1 playoff win. That is certainly more respectable than anything a coach has done since 99. It should no longer be the bar for him, especially if we're going to say, well, whatever he does with Shedeur, whatever he does with Dylan Gabriel, he has carte blanche because he just figures it out.
But he gets graded.
He does.
He gets graded on a curve, though. And it is the Browns' curve, but he gets graded on a curve. And that's why 1 playoff win in 5 years is not enough for any other coach in any other situation. But for him, it's, okay, no, you did it with the Browns. That's you're doing all right for yourself. And, oh, by the way, no one could have won with Deshaun. And for some reason, he gets some sort of big pass for what happened with Baker, as if he wasn't part of the reason why Baker's not on the team anymore. Like, it's wild.
Well, and what's wild to me is to watch a coach who I think of Mike McDaniel and Kevin Stefanski in similar buckets.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of that, I know you guys know how to scheme up an offense and or play call, one or both of those things. But I don't know if you're an actual good head coach yet. And the Roses, despite being to more postseasons more recently, having been to the postseason 2 of the last 3 years, and last year for Miami was an 8-9 season, not a 3-14 season. People have turned on Mike McDaniel, and now everything that was cute 3 years ago is now this guy's a moron and he's wasting your time, this, that, and the other. Whereas with Kevin, it's, he'll figure out the quarterback spot.
Well, but people act what he's done here is in similar fashion to what Shanahan has done with the 49ers. Yes. It's like, no, he took Garoppolo to the Super Bowl and multiple NFC title games. He took Brock Purdy to multiple NFC title games in the Super Bowl as well. Like that's real winning with substandard conditions, all things considered, whereas Stefanski hasn't done real winning with substandard conditions.
Well, and listen, this is another position where I'm somehow in the middle screaming at both sides. Because I've been critical of Kevin, there's this idea of, oh, you don't like Kevin, or you're trying to run him out of town. No, I just am not going to say everything he's done is great, because they've got 2 winning seasons and 1 playoff win in 5 years, and they walked into a ready-made roster that then they disassembled over 5 years.
Right. Like
that has to be on the record.
We're both ready to love Stefanski. I want to. It is so much more fun to really think the head coach that you have is some sort of quarterback whisperer or has some sort of, like Sean Payton, for instance, in Denver. What he did with Bo Nix, and really what he did in having that Broncos defense more than anything be one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, but what he did with Bo Nix in year 1, making them a playoff team and making them as good as they were, like that's magic to me. That's the good stuff. Stefanski hasn't done that.
Well, and if last year, okay, so you do the Flacco thing 2 years ago, and then if last year you had gone 8-9, I probably don't have the criticisms of last year that I had because you went 3-14. And I just think we're back to the point where, like, yes, this season, Vegas thinks you're a 5.5 win team. Yes, you probably shouldn't just be graded on these 4 quarterbacks and what they do. You're not. It's everything you've done the 5 previous years, and can you add or take away from the strength of your position this year?
I mean, think about how stupid it sounds, though, Nick. Think about it. Just play with it for a second, and everyone entertain me for 1 second. Coach goes 3-14 last year, and then his quarterbacks, not even all the quarterbacks, but one quarterback looks good to great in a preseason game, and that's what he's getting national attention for?
Mm-hmm.
In what world does that ever happen?
And again,
I like Stefanski, but that doesn't happen.
Well, and I think there has to be something between he is the worst coach in the NFL, which neither you or I have ever said or will ever say, and what he's done in 5 years is unimpeachable and is beyond questioning going forward. And I really thought it was interesting because, if you get into a Stefanski debate with anybody on social media, it turns into, well, he never had talent. That's not true. He walked into a ready-made NFL roster.
Yeah.
But look at the quarterbacks. The quarterback he was not a part of retaining has gone to Tampa Bay, been to 2 straight playoff times, and is coming off 4,600 yards and 41 touchdowns in a season. That's not 26 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. That is an incredible season by Baker Mayfield, and this organization, who Kevin was part of, decided to not retain Baker for one reason or another. And then they turned that around into Deshaun Watson, another thing that Kevin gets a pass for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, guys, if he didn't like Deshaun Watson, they wouldn't have traded for Deshaun Watson.
But no, don't worry. He's a great talent evaluator when it comes to quarterback. He really is able to see that Baker Mayfield just can never get it done, apparently, and Deshaun Watson's got it. Okay, great.
And oh, by the way.
But no, he's got Dylan Gabriel all figured out. Okay.
DTR, another guy.
Right.
That
just got released yesterday.
That he was very high on, that he and the front office spent a lot of time propping up in the media that loves them so much the last 2 years as well. And again, none of this is to suggest Kevin can't coach, but there is a class of coaches that when you have talent can win, and when you don't have enough talent can't win. Those aren't great coaches. Those might be good coaches. They might be average coaches. They might be below average coaches. Mm-hmm. So it's fair to say that there's some gray area in where Kevin actually resides there. But to hear Adam Shine or Colin Cowherd polish this one, or fans on social media go over and above, it's like, guys, everything down to the studs in Berea is under watch this year. It's not under warning, all right? Nothing's hot yet. We're not going there. But absolutely, you should be questioning. You should be looking for signs this year that Kevin Stefanski is closer to the coach you thought he was in 2023 and not the coach he was in 2024, because he did a bad job on multiple fronts last year, no matter what the other decisions made around him were.
I'd also love to be able to tell you that I think he's getting better and better at this, and that's part of the reason why there is some faith and optimism, but the results don't tell me that. His most recent result is 3-14 2014. Matt LaFleur, for instance, in Green Bay, I can legitimately make a case about how I think he's gotten better and better with each year. It got better even in a post-Rodgers tenure that you're not supposed to get better in. Kevin O'Connell has gotten better with each season. Stefanski, his most recent season was an absolute dud. He's not getting any better.
Well, and that's where this idea of giving him the old Peterlin pass for this season is just not in concert with reality. He's starting the veteran with the attempt to be as competitive as you can early, and the guy who will get the first crack out the gate is going to either be Kenny Pickett, who Kevin Stefanski very clearly believes in, or Dylan Gabriel, who I think the number one reason why Dylan Gabriel was a third-round pick with this team is because the Browns owed Dylan Gabriel that pick, or at least that was, hey, we got to give Kevin this one. So it's the veteran who you've chosen to start week one, and then if that doesn't work, at some point you're going to pivot to another guy who fits your system to a T who you've gone to bat for. So, that's to where, this, it really is a perfect season to be like, well, Dylan Gabriel fell flat on his face, or Kenny Pickett fell flat on his face, so did Joe Flacco, and he went 3-14. Guys, let's leave some room open here for the idea that let's evaluate Kevin Stefanski, and let's do it honestly, instead of just, he's two-time coach of the year. That doesn't mean anything to anybody in that locker room this year.
But I can hear the conversations if they go 3 or 4 win season. At the end of it, it's going to be same thing we've been hearing even going into this year. He hasn't had any people, hasn't had the personnel, hasn't had the players. I think he's a really solid coach. It's like, we can't give people 25 years to figure it out.
Well, no, I mean, listen, if you don't, then you're dysfunctional.